This episode on Good for Shidduchim, episode number 12, interview with Lisa Elefant, founder of Adopt A Shadchan, is Leilui Nishmas, Chaim ben Yaakov Shmuel. His Neshama should have an Aliyah.
Sarah and Max, an unlikely pair in this wild podcast, they're the perfect flair. Sarah's charm, so feminine and free, a Cali girl spirit under the podcast tree. Max is strong force with a punch in every word. Together they navigate the dating absurd. Don't forget to hit subscribe, join the crew for more laughs and tales just for you. Now back to the show.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Good for Shidduchim. I'm your host Sarah Levine. Along with me is my co-host Max Landisman. Hi Max.
Hi, how are you?
Wearing Miami blue today. Today we have a very special host with us. I'm very honored and humbled to have her on our podcast. I know she's very busy and we appreciate her taking time out of the day to just record with us little podcast. Good for Shidduchim.
That's right.
But before we get into our host, our guest, I should say, I'm the host. She's the guest.
Correct.
We wanted to let you guys know we're on Pandora now. So we're broadening our horizons on who can listen and how they can listen. We have multiple 5-star reviews, which we really appreciate. Thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate the 5-star reviews. Please email us at goodforshidduchim@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments. If you have any questions for any of the guests that we've had on, please feel free to ask any questions about them. Like us, subscribe to our Instagram. We have around like 30 followers now, which is really exciting.
Yep. And but without further ado, we welcome Lisa Elefant.
Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
We're good. I'm a little nervous, but
We have
I'm
one
excited.
of the Mount Rushmores of the dating world on the show. You understand? Like,
This is so exciting. No, we're really
Who is that? Who's coming on?
we found her. She's right here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so we're really excited to have you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Sarah, do you know how this all came about, actually?
I know that my husband actually had Lisa's number from a recent event, but I don't know exactly how this happened.
I posted a meme. It was about like the T-Mobile thing, the carriers were down.
Yeah.
And so I posted the meme and Shlomi mentioned that you see like Lisa Elefant like put it on her status, and I'm like, I actually died and Tris Mason brought me back. I feel like that's like it. You know, what could be better than that? So one thing led to the next, and then we're here.
Right. Oh wow, that's kind of crazy.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that, because my kids are totally mortified by my status, and I told them they could just block me or mute me.
Oh my gosh, know what? That's true.
100%.
100%
Just
true.
mute me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, Lisa, we're just going to get into it. We have a couple questions for you. And, we're here just to have a dialogue and just to, talk things out, hear what you have to say. And we're very curious about that. You want to start off?
Okay, I'm going to go put my bulletproof vest on. Hold on one second.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
No shots fired here.
Yeah.
No shots fired.
Okay, it's on. Good.
All right. So, firstly, we wanted you to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your organization and multiple organizations. How did, Adopt A Shadchan come about? And also what made you get started in Shidduchim itself?
Okay, great. So my name is Lisa Elefant. I have been involved in Shidduchim now for close to 20 years. I think like most Shadchanim, it kind of like happened as an accident. I don't think anyone's born saying, oh, okay, when I grow up, I want to be a Shadchan type of thing. I think it's something that like just kind of, comes your way. It's actually my husband's secretary had a sister-in-law, and I knew somebody else, and I got the ages wrong. Like everything about that idea was wrong on so many levels, except that it was totally right.
Oh, and, there you go.
There you go. So then all of a sudden, like, you're out of bed, and you're like, oh, my gosh, you're a shadchan. And I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So you start off with your little notebooks. And I also have some family members that, were in shidduchim at that time. Most of them are married. 1 or 2 still are not. But I really found that, like, I love doing it. Like, I was really, really passionate and excited about it. And to be modest, I was, I think I'm pretty darn good at it.
Oh, sure.
Damn right.
So,
From what I hear, you are, yeah.
Thank you. I've been really, working hard on it, and over the years, it's really developed into something even more than that for me. So I've ran other small shidduch organizations. I have a mentor, Mrs. Froma Schiffenbauer, who doesn't exist anymore, but used to have an organization called Envei Geffen, and then it was called Binyan Adayad, and she brought me in to run the younger age division for Binyan Adayad, so I got a lot of experience over there. And then with my friend Rochi Gibberstein, a couple of years ago, we started this organization called Adopt A Shadchan, which, I'll be straight up honest, that was not my choice of the name, but it's catchy.
I think it's a great name. I don't know. That's just me.
I don't even know exactly what it means. Like, people ask me, like, what does it even mean, Adopt A Shadchan? I'm like, you know what? Like, just go with it, bro. Like,
yeah,
just go
exactly.
with it. It sounds good,
Exactly.
And we started that off, and originally that was like a year or so before COVID, and we were targeting kind of like shuls. We were just trying to figure out like what's the best way to target a group of people and like help them on an organized level, because that's one of the big things with shidduchim as a shadchan, just trying to keep yourself organized. You don't want to be like all over the place. So we were targeting shuls, and that worked out well. We made a nice couple of shidduchim from there. I had hired certain shadchanim to work on certain shuls, and we were really growing that program, and then COVID hit.
Wow.
Oh,
and then
wow.
it shut down. It was very interesting. After COVID, a few people called me, like a lot of singles that I'm close to, like in their mid to upper 20s, and they're like, I know there's nothing you could really do about it, but like this really is awful. This really stinks. I said, I know. And they're like, Pesach's coming. It's COVID. We're on lockdown. This is like really depressing.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, we, Shadchanim were talking, and we're like, all right, let's just close down our Shadchan chat. I'm like, hold on. Like, we're not God. Like, God says, like, no one needs to get married now. Like, we don't know what this means.
Right.
So I was sitting there in my den, and I was watching my kids be on Zoom, doing school on Zoom, while they were playing the Xbox on the other hand. And
Amen to that.
I'm like,
As a good kid does.
Right? I'm like, they can do school. Why can't we do shidduchim? So we kind of like, with some help from like really, till today, I'm super grateful to some of the singles who actually helped me pull this together, and we did like a group dating over COVID. We did it over Zoom. We did like groups, and then we chopped it down to 6-on-6, 4-on-4, 2-on-2, and we actually had, I don't know, about 7 or 8 shidduchim come out of this Zoom group.
Wow.
Today we have groups that still exist, and it's just really, obviously, meeting people from all over, because that was, I think, the great invention of we really appreciated Zoom over COVID, I think, right? When it really became like super valuable. And we discussed, there were different, like, we had open discussions about, what girls like to see, what guys like to see, and I brought on guest speakers, and it was really an amazing experience, and that really kind of made me change visions a little bit for Adopt A Shadchan. I just started seeing things on a broader level from the singles point of view, from the Shadchan's point of view, of how we could just like do so many different things and so many different initiatives, because there's not like one way to do shidduchim.
Yeah.
There's so many different approaches and ideas, and some ideas will resonate with some people and some ideas will not resonate with some people. And they let me know that really fast, and that's okay, because I welcome constructive criticism. I think it's great.
Yeah. I mean, how do you grow without any, constructive criticism?
Totally. Yeah, totally. I'm like, just be honest with me, I mean, some people just don't like anything you do, and like,
of course.
Whatever.
And we don't like those people.
I just mute those people.
I mean, we have a couple haters, but what can you do?
We love it. If you don't have haters, you're not doing anything, right?
Exactly, Max. I was talking to a brother that I'm very close to, and he goes, Lisa, if you're not getting like any kind of reactions out of people, including the haters, like, you're not really doing anything that amazing.
Exactly, 100%. I agree.
There you go.
I agree.
Spot on.
But yeah, I will say though, like what you just said about taking constructive criticism and things of that nature. Believe it or not, I don't think a lot of, especially in the shidduchim world, actually take criticism, and that's what I was actually speaking to a friend. He actually gave me permission to give him a name drop, Jordan Jacobson. He happens to be a big fan of Adopt A Shadchan, doing a lot of research beforehand, and he was saying how they're very they adapt and they're always looking to do new things, new and better things to get feedback from people. Do you feel that in general, not to put anything down or anyone, but I have spoken to others where it almost seems like, well, this is the way I've been doing it for XYZ, so this is how it's going to be done. Do you feel like it's that way for a lot of other people or Shadchanim, or am I crazy, or is it just me?
Well, you may be crazy. I don't know you long enough to say.
It's a good answer.
Honestly, there are definitely people that feel that way, and that's great for them. But in terms of like myself and my organization and the people that like I want on board, like I like to work with people that are open to different ideas and open to doing things differently.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's great. So we were just curious, how many shadchans, or how many people apply to be on Adopt A Shadchan, and how many people are rejected, how many people are accepted, and like what's the criteria in order to be a shadchan on Adopt A Shadchan?
so we have two major things on Adopt A Shadchan. We have the Adopt A Shadchan database, which requires references and requires like a series of trainings that you have to take before you get approved. And then it's actually based on, even once you do get approved, like the quality of the matches that you send out. Like if you're sending out X amount of matches per week and you're not getting any dates, like I'll give you a couple of months because it's hard. But then I'll just say, you're really an amazing person, but you're like not a fit for the site.
Right.
And then we have an Adopt A Shadchan WhatsApp group, which WhatsApp used to, I think, close you out at like 200 something or other. I don't remember what the number was. Like there was a limit for how many people could be in a WhatsApp group. So that was my limit. Now I think like you can have up to like 1,000 people or something. But I basically put like a limit on it for 350. So I kind of like, I'm not really taking on anybody new right now.
Right.
But people do ask me to join the chat, and I am open to, new things, and I try to switch it up a little bit. Like some people want to take a break, or some people aren't super active on WhatsApp, or, or not in Shadchanim anymore. Sometimes Shadchanim need to take a break, which is a great idea for some.
Right.
So, so we have like a database, and we have a WhatsApp chat, which I try to keep it about 350.
Right.
Wow.
I really like the fact that you kind of keep track of the success, meaning you're focused on the results. Do you have a certain amount of people that say that, because as you said, there's over 200 people on there that are making matches? Who's overseeing it, and how does that process work?
So I have somebody, her name is Mrs. Amuna Son. She is fabulous. She has been a matchmaker on Soyot Sinai actually for years.
Okay.
And Mark Goldman, who owns Soyot Sinai, actually recommended Amuna to me as somebody who he thought would be a great idea to oversee, and he was totally right. And Amuna runs the back end of the database. She's extremely diligent on top of it, and what makes the Adopt A Shadchan, sets it apart from other dating apps, which are also, they're all great and everybody tries their best. We're like on top of the Shadchanim a little bit, and we try to touch base with the singles, and we tell them like, listen, if it's not working for you, or you're not getting the right ideas from a certain Shadchan, give it some time, give it a couple of weeks. If not, reach out to us. We'll switch you up. Like, we're very open. And listen, you can't make everybody happy. And for some people, the site is not a fit, and we're not afraid to tell somebody, like, listen, we just feel that maybe this site is better for you.
Right.
But like the Adopt A Shadchan isn't a fit for you.
Like Christian Mingle would be better for them in that situation.
We're not afraid to say, we're not afraid to say it. So.
That totally.
And how many successful matches, engagements, and marriages have you had from the website?
So it's actually not updated on the website. I think like on our website it says like 30 something, and we just don't really update it that often. But I think we definitely broke over 100.
Wow.
Definitely. I mean, that's just through the database alone, and then through the WhatsApp group, and we've made like, I don't know, hundreds.
Wow.
So thank God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We want to do more, but we have a really great track record.
Yeah.
And we're always looking to improve.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as I said, I'm not gonna name him, but someone I do know that is on Adopt A Shadchan and is quite picky, I would say, has told me that about 50% of the matches he's gotten from you guys have been on point, which for him might as well consider it 100%. Like that's an incredible. Like when I heard that, could not believe it.
Yeah, like I was understanding it as like, even though maybe some of the matches like didn't work out, he just felt that like he was being heard. The matches were actually good potential matches. It wasn't just like something random, and he felt like it was a very good experience. Like he is having a good experience, whereas in some other websites or other shadchans will kind of just like throw anything at him, like, or so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the one thing that I'm very, very much on top of people, and I tell people, like, just don't, like, if you're going to, like, randomly, like, throw ideas at people without, like, really thinking it through, they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And when you really do have a good idea, it's going to be much, much harder to push something through.
100%.
Right.
You know, if a shadchan is going to send somebody, like, 4 ideas at a time,
Right.
to me, that message is saying, I don't really know that if any of them are really for you, so, like, here's 4.
Yep.
Whereas if you send somebody 2 or tops 3 ideas, it's like, okay, I thought about it. Like, these could be in the ballpark.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Even in my own personal, people used to just, they think, I would say somebody gets on loop, let's say, and, because I'm connected, so someone would send me literally 7 different people. I'm like, do you know any of them? He's like, no. I'm like, why? What am I even looking at? And
Right.
so it's
And
almost like I lost trust in the system.
Right. He couldn't like vouch for them at least,
Yeah.
Right, so that's that's a little bit of a problem.
Huge problem.
What's nice about Loop, and I can't do Loop just because I have ADD and my phone was just like going off nonstop, so I have to get off Loop. But like, it definitely it's a good way to for singles to feel a little bit like empowered a little bit, that they have like some control and they can send
Right.
ideas, this and that.
Right.
But it is nice to have like a vetting person, and I still recommend that even if you meet through any of these type of apps, it's still nice to have like a shadchan in the background if needed.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we want to kind of move towards like talking about resumes. So we did want to know if you knew. We were just like coming up with ideas, like questions like what to ask you. We were curious if you knew where that resume like idea came from, like how it originated.
So I actually think the person, whoever was originating, I know when I started like 20 years ago, that's when the resume fad kind of like started, maybe like 18 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a great idea because so much time was spent literally with like a pen and paper and writing everything down and writing the references and the phone number, and then the shadchan had to give it over to the other person. The other person had to write it down. And there were so many times people call me, well, I lost the paper, or I wrote it on tissue and I threw it out. And I'd be like, seriously? Like, I got to do this all over again?
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
So the resume thing was great, but I think like people now, what they're doing is they're like throwing out the resumes, and that's like instead of actually like
doing
either
any research,
WhatsApping
right?
or talking about the person. So
Yeah.
it kind of is really just like, okay, here's an idea. Let me tell you a little bit about her, and here's her resume.
Yeah.
Resume is just really facts. I think
Right.
it's nice when people just write 2 or 3 lines of what they're looking for on there, just so that people can just have like some kind of frame of reference. But like, bottom line is a resume is a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
all it is. So
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes paper is worth
there's
more
some
though in
facts
that
on
case.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to follow up on that, what do you think would be like an ideal resume? Because when I was dating, there was a lot of different types of like shadchans that told me different things to put on the resume. I had to have XYZ on it for one shadchan. I had to have ABC for another shadchan, and like I ended up having multiple resumes for different shadchans just to please them. So what would you feel is like the best resume to have?
Best resume should just basically have like your basic info, like definitely put your height. I think you should put your birthday so people aren't guessing age.
Mm-hmm.
Basic education, schools education, some friends references, some family references, and that's really about it. And then just maybe 1 or 2 lines of what you're looking for. Key with the resume is like you don't want it to look too busy and you don't want it to look too sparse, but just have like the information that people just like wanna see.
Yeah.
A lot of people leave out their height. A lot of people leave out their birthday, and it's just like a lot of back and forth for like no reason.
Oh.
The thing of a resume is almost like as a work resume, kind of just like basics, facts, and just should just have the information that a person would generally need.
Right. Of course. So I've actually got a question for you, and this may be. Hopefully your vest is on tightly. This may be a little. It's not a zinger. It's not a zinger.
I'm tightening it.
Okay,
All right,
good.
yeah.
Okay, good. So, I may have seen, you for sure have seen probably like more or less 20,000 resumes, probably just last month, whatever. I've seen a number of resumes, you know, for myself, and in my opinion, I could look at 6,000 girls' resumes. They all look the same. They're all the same. They're all just, I'm looking for someone who's family oriented and blah blah blah. How do
Or
we
like the girls all went to the same school.
Yeah, the same school and this, and just I have an alternative, and I just wanted to hear what you think about it. So in the profession, like as far as the job resume world goes, some of my clients, I run a marketing company. Some of my clients are resume writers. They'll charge, let's say, $1,200 just for the resume. And so, what differentiates between a good job resume and a bad one? One of the main points is to be very specific and use quantifiable achievements or so. So let's say, for example, instead of a girl saying, like, instead of telling us that she exercises or whatever versus showing us, I would say something like runs 5 miles every Sunday or something like that. So instead of, it's just a very simple example. So instead of essentially what I feel a resume is just telling people what they are instead of showing people, because I feel as you mentioned before, people are just sending out resumes, and the resume was never supposed to be, substitute for a real conversation and knowing the person, I guess.
Right.
But at first, what do you think of my idea in general? Is it crazy, or where am I holding there?
So I think that people like to write things like in very general terms. Like they want kind and nice and meaningful and whatever. Like I haven't met somebody yet who said, like, give me this mean, strong, arrogant, psychopath.
Yeah.
So everybody wants nice and everybody wants sweet. And, you don't want to write something on your resume that's going to, like, throw somebody off. But I do think, like, writing something unique or different will make you stand out. Like somebody just could write like a random fact or whatever it is, and it's just like interesting, and I'll remember that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about having pictures on resumes? Are you pro that? I know a lot of.
Okay, so this was a loaded question.
Yeah, I know. It is a loaded question, but it's very important.
When people ask me for a photo, I ask them the Playboy photo or the regular photo.
Oh my God.
So we did something called Nix the Pics, like a little bit over 2 years ago, where we tried an experiment, and I got a whole bunch of Shadchanim, like we were like 200 of us, who for 40 days we took upon ourselves, like, we're not going to send out a picture. Here's the resume, here's the description. We're not sending out a picture.
Crazy.
The amount of the reactions that I got were like so off the charts. People were like loving it, and most of the guys surprisingly hated it.
Of course.
They're like, what are you thinking? We thought you were our friend. We thought you cared about us. I'm like, I do care about you, and this is why I'm trying this experiment.
So it sounds
they were like really. I was called Hitler.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh,
are you actually serious?
God.
Get out of here.
I am actually serious.
That's
yes,
crazy. No, I would never say that.
That is so. That's
I
a little.
I wouldn't either.
Who the hell would say that? Why would someone say that?
That's a little dramatic.
That's disgusting.
It was a little, yeah.
Do you know this
like,
person? Well, you'll tell me after the show. We'll get back to him. Whatever.
Max is ready to come after them.
I'll give you his email. Don't worry.
I can't believe it. It's really just wow. That's.
Yeah.
But on his resume says he's very kind, though, right?
Okay.
Absolutely. I don't have his resume. That's deleted from my files.
Yeah, for sure.
So at the end of the day, it was a very good experiment, but it ultimately was a fail, and that's where I'm open to criticism. It was a big fail because we're too entrenched in it. We're too entrenched, getting used to seeing the pictures, and it really did fascinate me because any like Jewish Frum publication, they won't print pictures of women.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like it's not even enough to have one picture. We have to have her at play, at weddings, at casual, when she's eating, when she's exercising. So it just, to me, it's getting a little bit out of hand.
Right.
So
it's almost like microscopic. It's almost like being microscopic. It's crazy.
And again, not everyone's photogenic, and not everybody. How many times have you picked up somebody and you've been like, oh, you do not look like your picture?
Yeah.
Right.
That's happened. Trust me.
And so it sounds like a lot of the women were having a positive feedback on not having the picture, but a lot of the men sounds like it was very negative.
Correct.
Wow. That's
Correct.
kind of interesting.
Very negative.
Right.
So I had guys text me, all right, so I'm not going to date for 40 days. And I'm thinking, seriously? I'm so glad you let me know that so that I can take you out of my rotation. Like, that's seriously, in my opinion, messed up. So I think we have to take the picture thing, and we have to just use our heads and just keep things in check. And especially for younger boys that are dating, like, you know, whose moms are running the shidduchim, like, Mom, like, you know your kid. Like, let your kid trust you. Like, you look at the picture, and you don't have to go show it, you know, to him, and then he sends it to all 45 of his friends, which is a little bit out of hand. So, and most people do have boys, and then we'll have girls in the shidduch parsha. So, you know, they kind of feel it on both ends. Right. And the new trend now is actually the girls all want pictures of the guys now. So I'm loving that. I love that.
Equality right there.
I have no problem.
Well, listen, if the men are demanding pictures, the women are going to demand the pictures right back. So there you go.
So that's really where it's at now. Yeah. So the girls want the pictures too. So, you know, as long as it's, you know, even, an even playing field. So that's kind of where the picture thing
equal
is
playing
at.
field. Yeah, sure.
You know, you mentioned that, you know, the mothers are involved. What is your personal opinion on the mothers being involved or / making decisions, you know, on their kids' behalf?
So I think when they're, you know, depending on the age, depending on a lot of different factors, you know, we're assuming that we're talking about somebody who has a good relationship with their parents. Who's young and starting out, definitely it's very helpful for parents to be involved in the beginning. I think once you hit a certain age, you kind of have to take a little bit more ownership and responsibility for your own shidduchim. And, of course, like, if you want to have your parents involved, your parents should 100% be involved, but you should kind of be more proactive in reaching out to Shadchanim yourself. You know, if I have a mother call me and she's like, hi, my son is 29 or 30, I don't even let her finish. I'm like, give your son my number and he can reach out to me himself. If he's like 30 years old and his mother's calling for him, to me that's like a red flag.
Right.
But young, especially they're starting young now. A lot of these boys are like even 21 and starting 22. Mothers should be, again, assuming mothers or mentors, whatever it is, somebody should be helping them, guiding them, and you know, being the front man for their shidduchim for sure in the beginning.
Right. So to play devil's advocate, one could ask, if someone needs their mother to, let's say, you know, quote unquote, be their agent, you know, in shidduchim when they're younger, are they fit to be? Are they ready to get married? Well, what would you say to that person?
So that's a great question. So again, even if the mom or somebody else is like the front person, eventually during the shidduch they're gonna take over, right? They're gonna, you know, the shadchan's gonna be out of the picture, the parents are gonna be out of the picture. So I'm not really so worried about that. It is a large-scale problem today that you touched on, and that's going to be for a different podcast if you invite me back.
Are you kidding? You're invited anytime.
Why there's so many divorces? Why there's so many divorces and other stuff today? Because
I'm writing all this down. By the way, as you're talking.
A lot of helicoptering parents doing things for their kids. I'm guilty of that also, but I'm slowly learning. Okay. And then when like the kids get, you know, married and they hit a bump, they just don't know what to do with themselves because everybody's doing everything for them, and everybody's, you know, it's definitely a big problem. So I view the shidduch process in general as like you got to flow with the times, you have to evolve with the times, and based on what the community needs and what the singles needs, that's what you have to do. So any shadchan that says like this is the way I do it and this is, you know, it's off. It's wrong because times are changing, and shidduchim today was not what it was 20 years ago. It's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that line, by the way.
A whole different situation.
No, meaning there are people that, you know, they think because it was one way, that's the way it is.
Right.
Like they don't evolve.
Right. It's hard. People like the same. People don't like change. So it's hard to, and also people don't have a lot of inner reflection and self-awareness, I think. And it also, that a lot of that is kind of a factor. you did talk about, having more of an equal playing field between like men and women. We wanted to know, do you feel that Orthodox Jewish dating does favor either the men over the women? Because as a woman, dating, I felt like I was almost like subjective to men. It like the Shadchans that I spoke with, they made me feel like, my picture wasn't pretty enough. I'm not going to be able to date the guy that I'm speaking about because I'm this age, or I'm not able to go out with the guy that I'm looking for because of, some crazy thing. And from
you're definitely talking to the wrong Shadchan.
I know.
You didn't call me.
I didn't call you. I
Exactly.
know. I should have called you, but
I'm kidding.
I'm sure.
No, we're not kidding. No, she should have called you.
I know that. Also, I'm sure it's also for the guys, but I do feel like sometimes they, there's more of a factor of them receiving the resume first, them saying yes first, and the women are kind of like off to the side and like wait your turn or like wait in line,
Right, so men have that upper hand because, they have all the resumes, but then it kind of shifts to the girl, and then she can say, yes or no, and then, on the actual date, I have just as many guys saying no, and there are plenty of girls saying no.
Yep.
So that's part of what we've also been working on at Adopt A Shadchan, to give resumes at the same time, to sometimes I'll even run a guy's resume by a girl first. Mm-hmm. Like we're trying to do away with how it was, so that the girls don't feel like that. And I find also that a lot of guys have like very inflated egos, because like, hey, I've got 40 resumes, and I'm thinking to myself with some of these guys, and I'm thinking, you'll be lucky if you get a yes from one. So who cares how many resumes you have? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, I was told once, like, this guy gets a lot of resumes and he has so many. If you don't give me a yes now, you're never going to go out with him. You know?
Do not engage with that.
I was like,
no good.
I was like, what?
Lisa,
what are you talking about?
While we're here, like, to those Shadchanim who do that kind of stuff, what would you say to them? Because I have a lot of different things I would say.
So what I would say is that they mean well. Anybody who is investing their time into something like this is not a money maker. There's a lot of different chasadim that you can do that will make you feel good also. So I would say most of the people that are involved in this and try to set people up are doing it because they have a real, sincere love and passion for doing this. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're good at it or that they should be doing it,
right.
But their hearts are in the right place. So, and 9 out of 10 times, it's not even coming from the guy. Like, a lot of girls will call me and they'll be like so turned off about guy X because somebody said that to them. It could be a shadchan, it could be a friend or relative, and I say to them, like, he doesn't even roll like that. That's not even coming from him. It makes the guy look bad.
Yep.
Like what does that mean? And most of the time, it's not representative of what they're even feeling. So that's a bad idea for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out and say that just they mean well, and like they're excited about an idea and they feel like that's the way they're going to get you, but it's wrong.
Right.
No.
Right.
That's going to be a no.
Yeah.
We also wanted to know today. We feel like even when I'm speaking with my peers and my friends who are single, and also Max can also, I feel like, say the same thing. Sometimes they really have like crazy standards. So we wanted to hear your opinion and like what you advise to people that have unrealistic expectations, I guess, on finding the right match, finding the right person.
So the faster you're on the reality track, probably your odds are probably better of getting married quicker, and or getting really just getting more targeted matches, and that will really lead to marriage quicker.
Right.
So if you have unrealistic standards, then you're probably going to end up getting dumped more than once, more than 5 times, more than 10 times, and dating is time consuming.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's expensive. It's emotionally draining. So you're really only hurting yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes a person has to date a while to really even figure it out, because you think you need X and really end up needing Y.
Yeah.
So I tell people, if you're dating a certain type of girl, right, and you've dated like 5-10 girls or 5-10 guys of a certain type or style or whatever it is, and it's not working, so change up what you're looking for. Like, see if that will, maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the issue.
Mm-hmm. And also, how do you feel about this age, like, fixation? I feel like sometimes I'm talking to single guys and they're like, I only date woman who's younger than me, or I'll only date, somebody who is 10 years younger than me, or women say they only want to date somebody who's older than them.
So I think over the last couple of years, there's been a big push to try to encourage, close in age shidduchim, and I think that's been working overall pretty well. You will definitely have, especially as men and women get older, men especially, they don't want anybody over a certain age, and they could be like 53 and they're still telling me that they want someone who's 30. I'm like, okay, just lose my number.
I just threw up in my mouth. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So,
oh my God.
For me personally, I would much rather be busy setting up a girl that's like home from seminary for at least a year or so than like a girl who just popped off the plane. And again, I'm not God. I don't know when somebody's supposed to get married or not. So I'm not saying just because you're 19, you shouldn't start dating.
Right.
But I think overall, a girl, as she's a little older and she gets more educated and has a better job, is like so much more of a better prospect, has so much more to offer than somebody younger.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. For the record, I am a guy, and I think I don't like going out with children. So I as a guy, I don't understand it sometimes, but I guess it just is what it is.
Well, I was talking to somebody, to a man, about why they would date somebody younger, and they brought up like they want like more of chances of having children.
Right.
So I know that's brought up
you can
a
have
lot.
Kids at 50.
That's
Exactly.
what I said.
Exactly.
That's what I said.
I think really what it is that people don't like to date jaded, burned out people. And I think that goes for men and women, guys and girls. And I think that that's just something that's really, really hard. And, for me personally, I got married at 19. This was not like a particular challenge for me. But I am in the trenches with it for singles with many years, and I get it, and I listen to them, and I, again, always looking to improve.
Right.
But I see how hard it is, like, to stay positive and, but it's so necessary. And I think that's what it is. People are like, oh, she's been in shidduchim for 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. She's burnt out. She's jaded. So, and the same thing for the guys. So you just have to go in, just with each person, just like this fresh perspective, and you just have to try to keep it positive and whatever it is. And that's what I think, a big thing with the age is that it's just like, I want somebody fresh and new, and
right.
If you've got such a big age gap, you're not going to have things in common.
Right.
Not that it doesn't happen,
Right.
but overall it doesn't really make sense, and you really should stick to dating somebody
closer
within your
age.
decade. Probably is a good idea.
Well, close in your
Yeah,
age, right? Yeah. Well, we agree with you on that.
Well, I actually just want to rush in for reference calls. And, some people ask some really ridiculous questions. And one of them being, which I really want to get your opinion on, is they'll ask blatantly ask for a girl's waist size. What's your take on that?
I mean, again, that's an offensive question. People will always ask stupid questions. A lot of it is that's why people want pictures, because they don't want to be feel misled or whatever. And pictures, still can be deceptive. And also seeing somebody in person is like a whole different ball game. But people in general should know that if they're going to ask a stupid question, odds are it's going to get back to the person.
Right.
Like if you're asking about girl A, like that friend or that family member is going to be on that phone so fast, like possibly even before you hang up with them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this woman has been asking, or this person's been asking like really ridiculous questions. And there are many, many shidduchim that have not even gotten off the ground because the other side heard the questions and they ran for the hills, and probably rightfully so.
Yeah.
So word to the wise, be careful about, what questions you ask. So some questions are just so grossly unacceptable and so out of whack that you're going to sink it before it even has a chance.
I
So
got
something
you.
like waist side or size, like, listen, you got a picture, you have to have face, and that's why I'm a big proponent of dating events also. Like, you really get to see the person, and you get to talk to the person, even if it's 4 minutes or 5 minutes. You still get like a general, like a gist. And I'm all for these dating events for this reason. Like, it's all for resume, and there's like no need to make initial reference calls.
The problem is they have to interact with another human being, and they don't,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for people.
No, I
but
get it.
It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy. Listen, I'm drained at the end of the night, and I'm not dating I'm not dating anybody.
It's a lot,
Right.
But I get it. But it's definitely a good avenue.
Yeah.
And it just in general, just because we were just talking about it at the beginning, I really, really just want to encourage people, like, to try out Adopt A Shadchan, to try out the database. I think there's like a big stigma with, like, I don't want to be on a database. I totally get it, but it's another good out of, this is also something like, I'm living in Flatbush in Brooklyn. We don't really do databases. This is not something like that our community was so open to or like been doing. And I tell people the same thing. If you're in Shidduchim a couple of years, like, try something different. And
mix it up a little
that
bit.
have been trying it, have been trying it, and like that have, that are successfully dating through it and have gotten engaged or had like a good experience from it. Like, people just have to try new things, and we're really like we're working hard. So like, if you're mainstream, normal, like, sign up. Try it.
And at the end of the podcast, I'm gonna ask you exactly how someone can go about doing that, and we're definitely gonna have that.
I did want to ask you, a lot of trouble where I've been seeing with dates in itself is honest feedback from either the woman or the man that was set up. A lot of my friends have been saying that they would just really appreciate a good, honest feedback, not like because they just want to know, but because they feel that they would actually be able to work on themselves in some way. They'd be able to enhance their next date, or they know like what they should bring up, what they shouldn't bring up. How do you feel about good, honest feedback? Only because they were telling me that they get very general answers, and they understand that feelings don't want to get hurt. They don't want to step on any toes, but in a
so it really
way,
depends.
yeah.
It really depends. Like, if it's like a one and done or like 1 or 2 dates, like, I'm not going to really be getting major honest feedback from the person. And even if the other side, the one who's doing the rejecting, is saying no after 1 or 2, I don't think that makes them a maven on who the person is anyway. I think that's one of the good things of, like, maybe having a good relationship with a shadchan, so she or he could see your pattern, try to figure it out a little bit on her own. But usually if you're dating, let's say, more than, 3+ dates, then you should be able to get from the shadchan some honest feedback. I mean, I have guys that, like, sometimes will just date somebody once or twice, and they really have no feedback. Nice girl, but just not for me, which could translate into a look thing, which can translate into just literally just, like, personality. But usually, like, after 3+ dates, you should be getting some kind of concrete feedback.
Okay, so on the, like, first or second date, it's understandable if you don't get, like, a specific feedback. Okay, but
right. And I don't even know that you need it or want it, because somebody that's giving you one chance, like, who cares what their feedback? Like, who cares? Like, they didn't, they got to know you for like 3 hours. Like, what's their feedback going to be?
Yeah.
Right. So I guess it's more coming a place of, like, maybe they're hurt and they just want to know, like, what happened, I guess. But I guess that's not.
So generally speaking,
right.
Like, a rejection after 1 or 2 dates, usually 99% just boils down to, I don't like the way you look. It's not for me. You're not my look. That's really what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. 1 or 2 dates, it's just a look thing, because you don't really know the person yet.
Right.
You're not really getting much.
Right.
So it's a look thing.
So that's probably why they're frustrated, because they're like, what did I do wrong? It's like, no, you didn't do anything wrong. And she's just not, or he's just not, feeling like romantically involved. So that's there's nothing you can change with that.
I always say that if you're not feeling it, I tell people that they should feel a little harder.
Oh my God, Max.
I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
we're not going to put that in.
I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah, we even have that at Shadchanim. That's always like the biggest question from our end. Like, when do you push? Like, how hard do you push?
Right.
At what point, do you let it go? And
Right.
like general consensus is like, if you're pushing a guy or a girl like to go past like 4 dates, like you got to just stop. Like it's too much. Like, stop doing the acrobatics and the this and trying to figure out all these things that are going to try. Like, if there's really, really no connect after 3-4 dates, like, just to stop.
Right.
Just stop.
So do you feel that the shadchan, like after a first or second date, should be really involved with trying to like facilitate either a first or second date? Like, I know for myself, like when I would date, I would be like, I really just wasn't feeling it. Like I really wasn't comfortable. I really wasn't, like I didn't find him attractive, but I was always told, give him a second date. You never know.
Yeah,
and I felt pushed.
From even just like from a mensch point of view, like we definitely like to see 2 dates, because like one date is just, it's like really, really hurtful. On the other hand, you don't want to waste the other person's time, money, etc. So it's a hard, but generally speaking, we really, really like to see 2.
Yeah.
We do like to see 2.
Right.
So after the second date, though, if they're really just not feeling it, then do you try to dissipate your distance and like, okay, fine, maybe it really just isn't working out? Because like I feel like there's a hard push and shove, like you said, there's a hard balance of like when a shadchan should actually be like, okay, is she just being kind of naive about some things? Does she need to communicate a little better? Or is she like actually having like really, justifiable feelings about something?
Right, so that's really where a shadchan comes in. Like, a lot of people feel like, oh, what do I need a shadchan for? I got this. But you need kind of like that third party, I don't know what the right word is, not coming to my head right now. I'm like, not non-invested, but like non-judgmental person who's going to just try to keep, she's going to, like Aliyah Ben Shalom says this, date him till you hate him. So,
we actually do not like that phrase at all.
You do not? Ooh.
We do not,
okay.
No.
Okay, explain.
Explain so.
Wait, do you agree with it?
What,
Max?
to
Date
just-
him till
I
you
don't
hate
agree
him?
with it at face. I don't agree with, like I just said. Like,
I mean,
feel like after 3-4 dates, if you're not connecting and you as a shadchan are pushing too hard, it's like a very hard balance. Like, sometimes, a guy or a girl will call me up and say, listen, like, I'm having a good time, but I'm really just not feeling it. So then, like, I'll just ask certain questions. Do you feel it's a hashkafa thing? Do you feel like he's being too quiet? Do you feel she's not opening up? Like, I'll try to figure out, like, because if you are having a good time with a complete and total stranger for 3 hours, there's something there. There's got to be something there. So I feel like the date until you hate him means, like, just to literally at face value, it's not a great line, but on a deeper level, it means just keep trying until like you just can't, until you just know that it's just like not the right thing for you. Like, I tell people, like, if they're dating 2 or 3 times, I'm like, just think about it. Like, I don't want you to come back to me like in 2 years and say, remember, like, Shoshana, cats, maybe I shouldn't have. So I say to them, so like, what's one more date in the big scheme of things?
Right.
Like, try it. Maybe that third date will be the thing that's going to like put you over the edge. But if you're still doing that, like for date 4, then like, no.
Right.
So that's kind of like
right.
where we're trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, I really don't appreciate the term, I guess, just because like it sounds very reluctant. Like, I don't hate him, so I'll keep dating him, but like you want to start to form a relationship, or like even say I love you, or be like, no, I really, really like him. Like, I just don't. Maybe it's more of a concept,
because that does
rather
lead to burnout, right? Because that kind of in a way leads to dating burnout. Like, okay, I just finished dating somebody 8 times, but like really I was ready to say no after 2.
Right,
so
because you can be dating somebody.
Right,
you could be dating somebody and like them as a friend, but like, so you keep dating them because you don't hate him, but you're like, I don't see it really going anywhere, but I don't hate him yet, so I'll just keep dating him. And then you're like in this, before you know it, you're in this relationship. You've wasted time. You wasted his, you stepped on his feelings. I don't know. That's how I That's how I thought
No,
about it.
I think that's, I hear that. I do hear that.
And so Lisa, how long do you feel the shadchan should be involved for, if there is a shadchan?
So I feel that the shadchan should definitely like kind of be involved maybe for like the first 3 to 4 dates, and then after that, just like kind of like in the on the sidelines, and then usually a shadchan will come in like towards the end to like try to close things up. But I think in the beginning it's important because like you're not so comfortable with each other yet. So it's kind of, and sometimes you do need that like a little bit of that like push or nudge or feedback. You know, it's hard when you don't have a shadchan. You don't really, what's your feedback?
That I
Where
think
you
is the
getting the
biggest.
feedback from?
Yeah.
Right. Especially, I guess, if you aren't, if you're being set up by a shadchan, you guys, I guess they're not communicating yet about their thoughts and their feelings. It's all through the matchmaker.
I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's one of the main benefits of using a shadchan is you get what the other person's thinking in a way. If you're not using a shadchan, you have no idea what the other person's thinking.
Right.
Right. I'll have plenty of people, call me up and say, oh, I saw this guy in shul, I saw this guy in an event or whatever, can you be the shadchan? I'm like, gladly. And like, they know it's not my idea and they know like where it's coming from, but still, like you have somebody like kind of in between to help you through.
Right. And Lisa, how do you feel about shadchans charging exorbitant amount of money to even just
to meet people or to make a shidduch?
Both. What I've heard is both. Just to meet, I heard somebody was charging a couple $1,000s. I understand after making the shidduch and it being successful, I totally understand that. But I've seen shadchans where they charge just to meet. And what else do they charge for? What was it, Max? Do they charge for if they
There's a whole range of everyone.
So
of like
shadchanim,
dates? Was it also dates?
Right. So most shadchanim do not charge. There are a few shadchanim that will charge for like an initial meeting if they're going to do like an extensive, let's say, 30 to 45 minute meeting with you because it's a significant amount of their time. My personal opinion is I sit down with somebody for 10 to 15 minutes and like that's all I kind of need to know. Like more than that, I feel like it's just too much. Like sometimes I feel like a shadchan doesn't even need to know that much. Like if you can't kind of like pick up the person's vibe after like 10, 15 minutes of what they're looking for, like then you're not going to get it.
Right.
Nobody is forcing anybody to go to a particular shadchan. So shadchanim could do whatever they want. I feel like don't complain and moan and groan about it if you don't feel that you like that concept of paying a shadchan for their time. Then go to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
So people have to just be cognizant that meeting singles do take time. The problem with shadchanim charging is that there's just very negative feelings if she doesn't get you a date, if he or she doesn't get you a date. So that's why in general I don't think it's worth charging because you're going to have that not good feeling. On the flip side, I would really like to tell people that if a shadchan does set you up and let's say it goes, let's say at least 2 dates, I think it's just nice. It could be money, it could be chocolates, it could be flowers. There needs to be like a thank you. Like if somebody set you up and like it was like a good shot, just it'll definitely work. It'll work to your benefit. And I tell shadchan, I'm like, if you're going to charge, it's just like it's very business-like.
Right.
So, again, like we have a database and we charge a couple of dollars a month. It's really not that expensive. It's like $35 a month.
Right.
And, we need that because like I need the database, I have to pay people and like the program or whatever it is. But, shadchanim, there are a few, not many, that will charge like $250, $500 to meet. So if it's not sitting well with you, then like don't do it.
Right.
Don't meet them.
You're right.
Yeah,
Why,
you don't have a gun to their head.
Yeah, why are you complaining if you're gonna shell out the money?
Just meet somebody else. People
Right.
call me all the time. I can't reach this person. I can't reach that person. I can't reach you. You know what? Just call somebody else. Like your shidduch doesn't rely on any one shadchan. Okay?
Right.
When God wants you to get married, He's gonna send you your shidduch.
You're
Who
right.
it's gonna be through, He knows that.
Yeah.
Right. You're right.
And that actually leads me to my next question is, do you feel that people are putting way too much emphasis on shadchanim, meaning end all be all, and like there's like no faith in God anymore in a way. It's almost like, well, God's not making these matches. I got to make sure like I get in front of this shadchan or that shadchan, and they're putting way too much emphasis. Do you feel that's the case?
Hishtadlus.
So, a shadchan is obviously is one form of hishtadlus, and I think that you do need to meet a certain amount of shadchanim,
right?
For you to be doing your hishtadlus. I mean, obviously Hashem is the one who takes care of everything,
Right.
and you have to daven and everything like that. But it's like always like that person who's like, drowning in the ocean, and somebody sends him out a lifeboat, and he doesn't take it, and then he dies.
Right. Yeah.
And he goes up, and Hashem's like, what do you mean? I sent you the freaking raft.
That's
so,
right.
It's the same thing. Like, there are shadchanim. Like, I'll meet people in the street, and they'll give me, like, these dirty looks, and I'm thinking, like, I don't know what's up with them. And then, like, I'll get a message like, oh, you never set up so-and-so. And I'll be like,
Oh, my
I don't even know
gosh.
she had a kid. I don't even know she had a kid dating. Like, she never called me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember my own kids' names sometimes on a good day. Like, I can't keep track of yours.
Right.
That's
Oh
crazy.
my
So
Lord.
you got to use your brain. You got to use, a balance. And I'm not saying, like, just because that you have to meet 100 shadchanim, but you got to put yourself out there, whether it's you're meeting a shadchan, whether it's whatever it is. If you're at a wedding, and somebody comes over to you, a friend or whatever, like, you have to be a good networker.
Right.
Yeah.
I also wanted to touch upon, Lisa, it's a very like sensitive subject to some people, and I hate using this term, but older singles. So I know this term has like, I really don't like it, but when you reach a certain age, either for a man or for a woman, you are kind of put into this other category. And then I'm just saying from personal experience, I got married at 32, and I was told I was never gonna, meet anybody, and I was going to
Obviously not through Adopt A Shadchan.
no, Max actually set us up along with my friend.
Right.
And I know I was not by myself, and it actually made me feel good. I had, a couple peers that were going through the same thing, but I feel like there is this toxicity towards people once they reach a certain age. Shadchans kind of put them in a subgroup or tell them, kind of very not true things about them, but I just wanted to hear like your thoughts and your opinions around people who aren't, 19 and 20, 21 that are looking for, that are still looking for their someone.
Okay, so I'm so glad you brought this up, because this is such an important and touchy subject. So I'm going to tell you, for like the first couple of years that I was doing shidduchim, like if somebody called me that were like over, let's say 30, I would panic. I'd be like, I'm going to say the wrong thing. I don't know what to do, because you need to be super extra sensitive to do that. But when you work with older singles, and if you're a good listener and you really, really care, I feel like there is nothing more rewarding than helping somebody who's been in shidduchim for like a good couple of years. And even if I'm not their shadchan, which odds are I won't be, because like it's like a needle in a haystack type of thing, but if you help somebody on their journey and you make it a positive experience for them, whether you're suggesting ideas for them, whether you're being a sounding board for them, whether you're involving them in events and things that you do, I love it. I love it. I have girls that I'm so close to that are even like in their even mid to upper 30s.
Yeah.
And I love working with them. I love it. And it's very painful because, there are very few new names, and it's like a hard place to be. And these girls and guys, they're so positive, and they're so just want to just like help and be involved in anything, like in any kind of project or anything. They want to be viewed as like not just by their single status, like hello,
exactly,
like,
they're a person.
Right.
Yes,
I'm a person.
Right, and that's what they say. A lot of them, like
there's been a lot of talk about that.
Yeah,
like the crisis of experience and this, and I feel like if people just like view them, like even if you don't have an idea, like just be positive, invite guests for Shabbos. Like you never know what's going to happen at your Shabbos table. And I, and a lot of people mean well, and they will send like, outrageous ideas to somebody because they're older, and they'll think like, listen, like they're dying to get married, so like of course they're going to take somebody like who's been divorced 4 times with 13 children, and that's really like not the way it works, so there's like a lot of like negative, there's a lot of negative pushback like between Shadchanim and like singles who get a certain age, because some of them will like just out of the wanting to help and just wanting to see them married will throw out an idea that like just really makes them like sadder and like more depressed, versus like see so much for the idea. And that's what I think people also have to wrap their heads around, like just you have to filter things out in your head. Just because you think something is a good idea, like kind of like think it through before you send it to the person, especially be sensitive to an older single. On the flip side, I do want to tell older singles that if somebody sends you an idea that like you really, really find super, super hurtful, whatever, instead of like, bad-mouthing Shadchan, whatever, just kind of like let them know that like, listen, I appreciate your thoughts, but like this was totally off for me for this reason. This is not something that I'm comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that will encourage more people like to get involved with older singles, because like it's the success rate is much smaller. Like you could put in the same amount of hours, so why shouldn't I work on someone who's like 22? Why should I work on someone who's 42?
Right.
Now I say because like the reward, the feeling of like, and the need is so much greater, because people are will always tend to run to the lower hanging fruit. Like, why not?
Right. I mean, but the person who's 42 also wants to get married, just as much.
Right, exactly. Right. So it's just hard, because you do need a little bit of a different toolbox to deal with older singles, and you have to know that. And we offer courses on that, and I have an open dialogue with girls and guys all the time about it, and we're always constantly working on different ideas of how to make it easier, how to make relationships better between Shadchanim and older singles, because it's like a lot of
toxicity,
a lot of negativity, toxicity. Yeah.
Wow.
There aren't, people just feel like, okay, this person is X years old, so like we could just suggest anything, and that's wrong and it's hurtful. And I tell people like I'd rather not read a shidduch for somebody for like 6 months than like read something that's like really gonna like be hurtful to them,
like out of left field. Right.
Yeah.
No, that's actually important.
Yeah.
But Lisa, we're gonna wrap up here, but I'm just wondering if you had any words of encouragement to anybody looking for their match. So
definitely stay positive. It could happen. It could happen, and it will happen like in a blink of an eye. I know it's hard, but like just stay positive. People are attracted to positivity. People want to, make it that like people want to be around you and enjoy your company. It doesn't mean that you have to be on steroids 24/7.
Right.
But, just be that person, like smile that like somebody wants to come over. You never know where your shidduch is going to come from. It could be from a shadchan. It could be from a friend, relative, somebody who saw you across the room. Who knows?
Right.
And just be open to different possibilities. If there are different events, if there are different Shabbos meals, like try to go a little bit out of your comfort zone. Like, if you see something you're like, oh no, I would never do that, like maybe take a step back and say like, okay, 1 second, like why wouldn't I try that? Why wouldn't I do that?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And oh, sorry.
I was going to say, and for all those who would be interested in learning more about Adopt A Shadchan or potentially signing up, what's the best next step for them to go?
Yeah.
We just came out with a fabulous new website, adoptashadchan.com.
Okay.
And check it out, and it's got all different, tells you about all our different initiatives, and we've got some resources on there, and definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Do you have any Instagram?
We do. We have an Instagram. Our Instagram also Adopt A Shadchan.
Yeah. And I'll leave all the info in the description below.
Awesome.
Yeah. We have Instagram. We have, I'm not like a huge fan of Instagram, but I feel like you have to have an Instagram presence.
Well, I don't even know how to use mine.
No, because I know.
As I'm talking to you now, literally somebody just sent it to me. I just sent it to Max. Somebody just sent me a meme that was posted on Good for Shadchanim.
Oh, no
look at
way.
that.
Look at that.
That's funny.
Somebody just sent it to me, and I just forwarded it to you.
Oh my
gosh.
God.
Do they know
Her
like you're
nose
on a
is too
podcast?
big.
Like
no.
that.
Somebody
Oh,
just
this
said to me,
Which
her
one
nose
is
this
it?
shit prices in a
I just sent
nutshell.
it to you.
Her nose is too big. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, all thanks
I
to
love
Max.
it.
Max
Crazy.
makes the memes. I just put them out.
That's crazy.
Oh, this is good.
This
I
is
love this.
This is a first, by the way. We've never had a live forward meme on the show.
That's crazy.
Well,
I feel
That's
like we need to
incredible.
I can't make this
celebrate.
stuff up.
Yeah.
This is great.
This is
So you'll tag me, I'll tag you, blah, blah, blah.
well,
But really, like, let's do good stuff. Like, yeah, this is...
we
Yes,
we really
let's
appreciate
do
you
good
coming on. I
stuff.
think this was really
Fantastic.
beneficial. I really enjoyed personally. I know a lot of our viewers are going to really enjoy and benefit from this, and I think this is the start of a lot of good things. And hopefully,
A little bit of change.
a little bit of change. And I hope to have you, if you're willing, to come on again. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
For sure.
Absolutely my pleasure.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Lisa. Take care, and we'll
you're
speak to
welcome.
you.
Nice meeting
Absolutely.
you. Yep.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
And remember, everything will always be about Shadchanim. Catch you in the next episode.